Right, Blighty Boxing in association with Frank Warren and Queensbury Promotions. We've got the Guvnor here. How are you, Mark?
I'm fine, Richard.
All good. Now, I want to take you through a few things that have happened with your Peacock elite squad of fighters over the last few weeks. First of all, you took Ryan Robinson to York Hall and a victory. Tell us about that.
Well, as I said to you before, I think it was when last done our interview that if you liked your boxing and you wanted to see an exciting southpaw, to get along and have a look at Ryan, and I think he done a good job. I think he boxed the 6 rounds really well, and I think that's took us another step forward to a title.
How quickly can you move him? I mean, he's not a kid, is he?
No, he's not a kid, but like all boxing, how quick can we move him? It all depends on what fights come along and what comes up. Our main job is to try and keep him busy, but focus on the title by the end of the year. That's what I'd like to think for Ryan.
Area title sort of thing?
Area title would be fantastic. We always speak about Southern area titles. I think they're nearly always the best fights, the most entertaining and competitive. So if we could get an area title for Ryan, I'd be absolutely over the moon.
Right, then subsequent to that, you went off to a dinner show down on the coast. I think it was a ringside rest and care. I can't remember whether that's exactly what it's called. It was originally going to be James Branch, ended up being Chris Bourke. So the boy didn't knock anyone out this time.
No, good for Chris. I mean, he got the rounds under his belt. A very competitive little fight. We took it, I think it was about 3 weeks' notice, so that it worked out really well. Good for Chris to get the rounds under his belt, not under the spotlight or not under any pressure, no tickets or anything like that, which is sometimes, it can be a bit of a burden on the boys when they've got tickets and that to sell, but fortunately on the dinner show all we had to do was turn up and do his job, which he did.
He's a big talent, Chris, I suspect, and he's one I would suspect is going to be pressing you to step him up, get the rounds up and push him into contention before long.
You know what, Chris is quite a patient boy. He's not in any rush. There is some good fights to be made out there, and I don't want to say anybody's name because I don't want to call anyone out, but I think all the divisions at the moment are really alike. I mean, I
can say a name. I mean, Brad Foster's an obvious longer term target because he's a champion.
Yeah, and after his performance the other night, obviously he's the name on everybody's lips, but I mean, we're not going to ask for that yet. Chris has still got a bit more of his apprenticeship to serve before he got to that sort of level, but great fight in the future.
Not half. Then you went to York Hall on Saturday with Louie Lynn. Now, I remember when we spoke a few weeks ago, you mentioned about you need to slow him down, you need to make him think about things a little bit more. I just think he looks like a fun to watch, exciting, Don't spoil him. No,
I wouldn't spoil him. As I've, I keep saying as I've said, but as I've said before, Louie Lynn is for me is the English Johnny Tapia. He's a bundle of fun to be around. He's competitive. He's always in good fights and always going to be in good fights. So, I didn't want to slow him down like that. I'm just saying, we've got to bring him into the pro ranks a little bit more because, as you see, from the first round, he was like a million miles an hour. And they had a real ding-dong in the first round, very exciting. And then we had a little word with him in the corner and he sort of slowed down, he started picking his shots better. And then he looked like the fighter that he can be. The first round, it's just nervous energy, for want of a better word. Does that make sense?
Would I be wildly off the mark if I suggested, but what went through my head was a young Josh Warrington?
Well, we'd like to be compared with Josh Warren, wouldn't we? I mean, what a fight.
Similar though, aren't they? Work rate, their intensity, their fitness, the way they go about the job.
Yeah. Well, that's very nice for Louis to be compared to him. I mean, obviously a world champion, and that's what Louis wants to be. But a little way off that yet. Even though he fights similar to Josh. Josh is probably a little bit more patient and a little bit more clinical, shall I say, like a little bit more deliberate.
Now, but he's in late 20s now and he's very experienced.
Oh, for sure. Well, listen, if we could take Louis along that route, what a touch. But it's a long way off.
Moving on to other members, I understand that you've got a fight for Billy Ellington to come back after his southern area exploits. April 25th, I understand.
That's the date that we've spoke about, April the 25th, on one of Mo Prior's show. I think he's got a show at Crystal Palace. We haven't got an opponent yet for Billy, but we're looking for one. I think he's had a nice rest now, and his appetite's always been there for the game, and he comes straight back after the Southern Area fight and wanted to fight straight away, but we sort of, I don't know the word for it, but we sort of like slowed him down a little bit, took our time, and we've worked on a few things, and he's got things he's got to work on, obviously, and he's happy to do that, and we're going to see if there's some progression in the 6th rounder, and we're going to go from there. But I think
has to be, doesn't there?
There has to be, and Bill knows that as well. We've had that conversation. I don't want to character assassinating him, but he's got a little bit of work to do, but ain't all fighters.
His confidence doesn't seem to have been dented at all, does it?
No, because if you look at the fight, it was a real hard 10 rounds. And as I said to him, there's not many people in the country that could do 10 rounds like that, competitively. Very hard. For me, I still think he won the first 3, possibly shaded the 3rd. And then he won the 10th. So,
no logic to that, is there?
No logic to that at all. And that's a little bit of Bill's own belief. He's got to express himself that little bit more. And, I don't want to say leave it in there, but he's actually got to put the work in through the rounds. It's no good saving it to the end.
Can we mention the fighter that's been training with you recently? New one? Are we allowed to?
Well, he hasn't made no.
We're talking about Alfie Price has been training here recently. I mean, he's a very good amateur fighter, Southern Area champion now as a pro. Like I say, he hasn't been here for a couple of days, but he's been here, hasn't he?
Oh yeah, he come in. He seemed to enjoy the little bit of camaraderie we've got here in the squad. He fitted in well straight away. Like a lot of fathers, they've got the kids home from the half term, so your commitments do change, and that's life as well as boxing. But hopefully he's in, and hopefully he's on that show on the 25th, which will be very good because I can get him, we can get him and Bill ready at the same time, and it'll be nice to have 2 boys on it. I believe that's going to be a televised show. With any luck, he could be defending his Southern Area. As I said, I don't manage him, but Mo manages him, and he wants to put him on that show. He was with a trainer who's a very good trainer, and done a great job with him. I don't think there was any problems with the trainer or anything. Sometimes I just think it was the time commitment, with work schedule. So
fought everyone as an amateur, didn't he?
Yeah, brilliant fighter. Good in the gym. He's been here for the last month. He fitted in well. Hopefully, he's an asset and could be an asset.
Moving on, Daniel Dubois. Last time we spoke, it wasn't done. It looked like it would be, but it wasn't. Now it's done. We've had the media day, which looked quite exhaustive. I bet you're glad you stayed out of that one, aren't you?
Yeah, luckily enough I did. But we had commitments in the gym. We had boys fighting. I think that was a Friday, wasn't it? I think we had a weigh-in on that day. Yeah, I did. I had the boys weighing in on that day. Listen, it's a great fight, and a credit again to both of them that they're taking the fight on. I think it's going to be a great night.
Was there any hesitation on your part when the fight was put to you? I mean, it is a massive fight. It's number 2 unbeaten fighters. The fella's got an Olympic pedigree, that sort of thing. Was there any part of you that sort of thought, not just yet, another 1 or 2?
No, I think with any fight that's made for any of our fighters, there's always a bit of hesitation. You weigh up your pros and cons, and you see whether it's right and it's the right time, and then you take the fights. A bit like what we just spoke about Billy. That was the right fight at the right time, and all you can do is get ready and be prepared, which we will be. But I believe this is the right fight. I don't think that Daniel or Joe could carry on fighting at the level they're at without moving on. And they both need that fight. They both need this fight. Sorry, they both need this fight, and it's the right time. It's the right time with Dan. There weren't no hesitation in Dan. Dan's a good boy, but obviously we have to look at it and think, is it good for us? And I really believe it is a good fight for him. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard with both of them. But it's a great fight for the public, and the fight that they want to see.
Did you imagine 2.5 years ago, whatever it was, but you would be moving at this pace and you'd be the holder of 9 titles already, and this is, you know, for all intents and purposes, it's almost like a world title eliminator. Did you ever imagine it would move that quickly?
Well, did I ever? I think with all the boys' careers, you like to think he's going to move on quick, don't you? But this has obviously been accelerated because of Dan's performances, and to be fair, he's put in good performances. He's fought good fighters, you know. I believe every fight he's had has been a progressive fight. All right, like last year he had 5 fights. Let's say 3 of them fights were really top notch. They was, in my opinion. I'm only like yourself. I'm a fan, and I also enjoy the game. 2 of the fights one was a mandatory. We couldn't really get out. Like, we had to fight that person for the Commonwealth. So, you know, we didn't pick that. We didn't pick that, and we didn't pick the Fujimoto.
Tete, wasn't it?
Yeah, Tete was, you know, Tete could have been a nightmare if he got through that first round. He could have old man Dan a little bit. Anything could have happened. But listen, Dan done the job, and Dan's done the job. Dan's done everything that's been asked of him. So, did I imagine it was going to be this sort of journey this quick? Possibly not, but he's done everything asked of him, and some, in my opinion.
Now, I've got to ask you finally, as a heavyweight guru, Fury Wilder. Fantastic. Talk to me.
Fantastic, what a great fight. Again, 2 people putting it on the line, 2 unbeaten fighters. Obviously that much further down the road than Dan and Joe, but still willing to put it on the line. And I tip my hat to them both. Listen, I think Tyson's different gravy. I like everything he does, and he's great for the sport. The personality he's got, as I said before, he's so media friendly at the moment. He's the man. He's the right man at the right time. Everything he's doing is spot on for British boxing. It all rolls back down the hill to the likes of Dan, Joe, even to Chris, Louis. You know, they're all feeding off of that. So how lucky are we?
When you watch these fights, do you watch them through the eyes of Daniel? You know, when you're looking at them, you know, even at that highest level, you got to think, how would Daniel get in there? What would Daniel do there? Do you watch them through those eyes?
I think with all the boys, if you're looking at fights in their weight category, you do that. But how Dan sees it is obviously different to how I see it sometimes. You know what I mean? Because Dan's, you know, I don't want to blow his trumpet too much, but he's fearless. He really is fearless, and he relishes a challenge. So sometimes you have to put the brakes on boys like that. But as we just spoke about with Dan, he's proved that and beyond. So, do I watch it through Dan's eyes? I'll probably watch it through my eyes and try and translate how would Dan cope with that. But I understand what you mean.
Martin Bowers, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.